Hello everyone, it's Cam the Yellow Giraffe with a Minecraft video, and just before this video starts, this is our new Minecraft server. I know I haven't posted like Minecraft videos in a super long time, but we started a server. It's running in my basement actually, and it works pretty well for all of us, so we're like, hey man, it works, it is 4 gigs of RAM, so that would cost like 85 bucks a month, but it's free in my basement. But I might start charging the guys for power if I'm a scumbag, but I'm not planning on being a scumbag and charging for power. So let's just get right into this topic. So today's topic is quite an interesting one, at least to me. The topic is Bitcoins. And I'm kind of guessing you've heard of Bitcoins before. It seems lots of people have, because they've just kind of taken off since April 2013, when their price went from a super low amount, like 5 or 10 bucks, I think, all the way up to $266, and then came way back down to like 100 bucks or something similar to that. And right now, I believe they're at $155 at the making of this video. So that's a decent amount for one Bitcoin. And definitely there were a lot of winners who got and hoarded their Bitcoins back in the day, like when Bitcoin just became a new virtual currency, and these sort of earlier adopters of it. And because if they hoarded their Bitcoins and they were making like, let's say 5 Bitcoins a day, which is kind of a super early time you'd be making that, that would be worth a lot now if you did that. Even for like a week, you'd have a decent stash of money just sitting on your computer's hard drive. So anyway, I'm just going to talk about the pros and cons of Bitcoins in this video. So I guess we'll start with the pros, because, you know, it's better to start off a video with a good start. So one of the pros I thought is it's a virtual currency. Like, in our today's day, everything's digital. Like, you have your phone everywhere. I got my phone in my pocket here, and I'm just texting in people and stuff like that. And like, there are bank apps and stuff, but Bitcoin is like, it can be right on your phone and it can be right on your computer as well. And it's super easy to use, and it's just based online pretty much. Like, the only way it can be destroyed is pretty much by shutting down the internet. So it's not going anywhere. And most of the world is, well, a decent amount of the world has already known about it. So it's definitely an interesting concept, because it's like the first of its kind. And that kind of leads into the next pro, is it is the first of its kind, and that's also led to more virtual currencies like Litecoins. Those are kind of an up-and-coming one. There's interesting ones like Prime coins, and there's just a ton of other coins and stuff, and it's kind of really interesting, especially for me, because I'm using my computer to generate these coins, and that's how virtual currencies are basically minted. Lots of computing power, and then if you help compute the transactions to send them through the network safely, you get rewarded with this virtual currency. So that is basically what how they're generated pretty much. So you have to, they're called mine at a block, and there's a certain difficulty. So you have to, your device has to generate a number higher than the difficulty of the network, if that makes any sense at all. And the devices that were first being used for Bitcoins is processors. And for comparison, let's say if it's a car, it can go a max speed of 5 kilometers an hour. And then people discovered that you could mine Bitcoins on your graphics card, and that basically upped the game anywhere. Let's say if it's a car, it's going 300 to 1,000 kilometers an hour, so pretty fast for a car. So it's going probably around airplane speed. And then now, just in the last year or so, they've come out with ASICs, which are application-specific, some integrated controllers or something like that. But it's basically made to just mine Bitcoins, and it's super good at that. You can get them really high speeds to mine a lot of Bitcoins, and they have low power consumption as well compared to a graphics card, because graphics cards can pull 200 watts for a single one, sometimes more or less. So that's definitely a lot of power, and it really heats up your wherever your mining operation is. And so these ASICs, I think they're developing them to become like 2 terahashes, which is basically like I'm thinking, would it be 2 million miles an hour if it was a car, basically? The ratios between all those. So it's like a ton faster than the highest graphics card you can get for mining Bitcoins. It's absolutely ridiculous. And these devices are being sold for huge amounts of money, and still they're making huge amounts of money. But with all this hashing power coming onto the network all the time, you're probably thinking, well, how is it still so profitable if so many people are doing it? The thing is, the Bitcoin network has a difficulty thing, like the difficulty that I was talking about earlier. You have to get a number higher than that, of the certain difficulty, to mine a block. And the difficulty goes up every 2016 blocks, I think. And the way it determines how much it should go up or down is it just, the network takes a look at how long it took to do those last 2016 blocks. And if it was shorter than the time that it's supposed to be, then they will bump the difficulty, or no, sorry, they will bump the difficulty up. But if it took way longer than the set amount of time, it'll take the difficulty down to try and keep it around that certain time, which is I think around 10 days it does every 2016 blocks. And to explain a block is basically a group of transactions, so it can be, I think, anywhere from 200 to 5,000 transactions put in one block and sent through the network, confirmed, making sure everything's all good. So I guess that was a really long pro of the network, sort of. And leading on to the next one, with virtual currencies and computers just making sure everything's going well, it is basically impossible to forge this currency, which is awesome as well because, you know, people can forge just normal currency like your US dollar, Canadian dollar, whatever. And it's not that difficult even with all these new security features I know the Canadian government's been putting in. People can still forge them, and the only way you can tell is, I think if you put the bill in a piece of water, or no, piece of water, in a bowl of water, it'll just like fall apart like a Kleenex or whatever. So that's a fun fact too. But that's the nice thing of the network is you have to have a 51% of the network basically mining power to forge the currency, I believe, or manipulate it to the way you want it to go. Because with 51%, it can say, no, this 49% is wrong, this 51% is right, so do it the 51%'s way. And then that'll basically get it so you can have your way. And that's the only way to basically forge a currency. So it's extremely difficult. And basically right now it would cost millions and millions of dollars to do a 51% attack on Bitcoins. And honestly, it would probably not even be worth it. So that's one of the other cons. Pros. Jeez, I'm mixing my words up today. The next thing is, it is low fees. Like if you send a Bitcoin through a network, it only costs you around 5 cents, I think, to send $150. So it's a pretty decent way they have it set up. And that's definitely nice compared to like PayPal or whatever. They have some hefty fees. And that's basically all I have for pros. Good grief. That's all I have for pros. Going on to the cons now. It's basically the cons are around mining mostly. So if you just want to mine Bitcoins today and make a few bucks from your computer, it's impossible. You'll be losing money from the cost of power because the difficulty is so high. And the only way you can make any money is if you want to invest like $20,000 in an extremely efficient machine. Or you can always invest in the companies making those, or invest in just groups using their product. So you own just a small amount of it, stuff like that. And along with that, it's a huge waste of power, all these mining devices. They use so much power. I think it's $300,000 a day in power or something on average. It's absolutely ridiculous how much power is being used. So it's definitely expensive, putting a lot of heat out there, and I don't know, it just seems like kind of a waste of electricity and probably polluting as well if you're a nature person. So yeah, that's not a good thing at all. And the other thing is, there's only a certain amount of Bitcoins that can be ever created, and once that amount has been created, all these people who are mining and making their money it'll just stop. Like it'll slowly less and less coins come onto the network. It halves every 2 years, I think. And basically it started with 50 Bitcoins for the first year. Now it's down to 25. It'll be down to 12.5 next year, I think. And basically when it gets to 0, everybody will stop, and then it'll be like, well, my device is just here, I don't know what to do with it. And I guess they'll all be thrown out or hopefully recycled to something similar to that. But you know, it's kind of a waste of a device, I'm kind of thinking. Like everybody's doing all this and they're making so much money on it now, but in like 5 years, 10 years, it'll be like my device is completely obsolete. Because I can only use it for Bitcoin mining, so it's a waste, and I guess I have to recycle it or throw it out. So that's kind of the pros and cons of Bitcoins that I see. If you have your pros and cons, voice your opinion in the comments, definitely. And if you're interested in Bitcoins, just feel free to Google it. I know Reddit has a great community. /r/Bitcoin is like the best community of Bitcoins. I visit that place all the time, and I honestly learn so much. And that's basically it. There's Bitcoin Talk as well. It's a forum, and you can talk about Bitcoins and stuff. So if you want to learn more, check those things out, or just Google Bitcoins. I know there's a wiki and stuff like that. So hope you enjoyed the video, and have a great day, and check out Bitcoins. They're pretty neat.